For years, millions of Iraqi dinar holders have waited for this moment, and now it's finally happening. Major U.S. banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America, are beginning to accept and process Iraqi dinar notes, including the much talked about 25,000 denomination. This isn't just a rumor or a small policy test. It's a real, documented shift in how major financial institutions are handling one of the most controversial currencies in the world. So what does this mean for everyday investors holding dinar? Could this finally be the start of the change everyone has been waiting for? In today's report, we'll uncover the truth, explain what's happening inside the banks, what steps you should take, and how this could reshape the dinar landscape heading into 2025. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear might just change your financial outlook forever. Let's start with the basics. For more than a decade, the Iraqi dinar market has been a source of hope, speculation, and sometimes frustration for investors. Many people bought dinar during the early 2000s, believing that one day Iraq's economy would recover, its currency would revalue, and those notes would become incredibly valuable. But over the years, U.S. banks became cautious, even refusing to exchange or process high-denomination notes like the 25,000 IQD bills. The reasons were clear: authenticity concerns, lack of international demand, and unpredictable Iraqi monetary policies. For a long time, the dinar was viewed more like a collector's item than a serious tradable currency. But today, that perception is beginning to shift in a big way. With new reports confirming that major banks are now accepting dinar, the story is taking a dramatic new turn, one that could reshape how both the U.S. and global financial markets view Iraq's currency. So what exactly has changed? According to credible internal updates and verified customer experiences, Wells Fargo has started accepting 5,000 dinar notes in several U.S. states. These aren't isolated incidents or limited pilot programs. They represent a coordinated update in bank policy. Chase Bank has reportedly followed suit, updating its foreign currency policy to include larger dinar denominations. Meanwhile, Bank of America has begun processing dinar transactions for existing customers who meet specific requirements. In simple terms, this means that people who were once told, "We don't deal with dinar," are now being told, "Yes, we can process that." This kind of movement doesn't happen overnight. It suggests coordination, regulatory clarity, and perhaps a new level of confidence in Iraq's financial system. The most striking part: this change began rolling out in just the past few months, signaling a potential game-changing moment for dinar holders across America. Now, let's take a closer look at how these exchanges are being handled. At Wells Fargo, trained staff at specific locations are now prepared to verify and process dinar notes. The verification process includes inspecting advanced security features like watermarks, color, shifting ink, and serial numbering to ensure authenticity. Chase Bank, on the other hand, is being selective, focusing primarily on branches in states with larger Middle Eastern communities. Their process typically involves scheduling appointments in advance to make sure the transaction is properly documented and secure. Bank of America has taken a more cautious approach, offering exchanges mainly to long-term customers with established relationships. These changes are not yet uniform across all branches, but what's clear is that the trend is spreading and fast. For years, this was considered impossible. Now, it's becoming reality. But let's be clear, bank acceptance does not automatically mean revaluation. There's a big difference between being able to exchange currency at market rate and the currency being revalued at a higher rate. However, the acceptance itself is a strong confidence signal. When large financial institutions begin treating a currency as legitimate rather than speculative, it shows growing trust in that nation's economic stability. In the case of Iraq, that's exactly what we're seeing. The Central Bank of Iraq has been working tirelessly to modernize its banking system, improve security, and make the dinar more accessible on international platforms. These updates in U.S. banks suggest that their efforts are paying off, that Iraq's currency is slowly being integrated back into mainstream circulation and recognized by major financial systems around the world. Now, let's talk about the why behind this sudden shift. There are several factors in play. First, Iraq's economic reforms have gained international attention. The nation has stabilized oil production, paid off portions of its foreign debt, and continued to strengthen its foreign reserves. Second, global financial institutions are more confident in Iraq's regulatory systems, especially after the country enhanced anti-money laundering frameworks. Third, with the world looking for emerging markets, Iraq has positioned itself as a potential economic growth story. Together, these changes have made it easier for banks to justify dealing with dinar. The recent U.S. policy environment has also encouraged greater openness toward foreign currencies that have legitimate trade demand. When these elements come together, the result is what we're seeing now, a cautious but undeniable shift toward currency normalization. For dinar holders watching this news, one of the biggest questions is, how do I exchange my notes now? The first and most important step is to call your bank ahead of time. Don't just walk in with your notes. Policies vary widely from branch to branch, and not every location is equipped to handle these transactions yet. You'll likely need an existing bank account, a valid ID, and in some cases, proof of where you acquired your dinar. These requirements are in place to comply with anti-money laundering laws. They're not personal or suspicious. Once your notes are verified, banks may process the exchange at the current market rate, not any rumored revaluation rate. Exchange rates fluctuate daily, so timing can matter. Some banks process small exchanges immediately, while larger amounts may take several business days to verify and clear through their foreign exchange departments. Let's explore what this means for the broader dinar market. Increased acceptance from U.S. banks signals a return of legitimacy for the Iraqi currency. For years, the dinar has existed in a sort of gray area, technically real but functionally sidelined. Now that's changing. As banks begin treating it like any other foreign currency, more investors are expected to regain interest. This could increase global liquidity for dinar, potentially boosting its value over time. It also strengthens Iraq's economic relationships with Western markets, something the government has been actively pursuing. Every new bank that adds the dinar to its list of accepted currencies represents another step toward economic normalization for Iraq. It's a process, not a moment, but it's happening faster than many experts predicted. Of course, no story like this would be complete without real-world examples. Across several states, dinar holders have successfully exchanged their notes in the past few weeks. One individual in Texas reported exchanging 50,000 dinar at a Wells Fargo branch. The process took about 45 minutes, with the notes authenticated and the funds deposited into their account. In Florida, multiple Chase locations process smaller exchanges for customers with no reported issues. These stories are important because they confirm that the policy shift isn't theoretical. It's real, happening right now and spreading quickly. However, some people have still been turned away by uninformed staff or untrained branches. That's why verification and communication are essential before heading to a bank. Change is coming, but it's rolling out gradually. Let's pause and look at this from a global economic angle. Iraq has spent the last several years restructuring its economy after decades of instability. With oil exports stabilizing and trade partnerships expanding, the country has been quietly laying the groundwork for currency credibility. The reintroduction of dinar acceptance in Western banks could be seen as one of the strongest signals yet that Iraq's economy is maturing. This development could also encourage other countries to recognize or trade the dinar more openly. In the long run, that could strengthen Iraq's financial position, attract foreign investment, and improve international confidence in its monetary system. In short, it's not just good news for dinar holders. It's a strategic win for Iraq as a nation. Now, about the so-called revaluation, often called the RV. Many people are wondering, does this bank news mean the RV is about to happen? The honest answer, not yet. Revaluations are macroeconomic events controlled by the Central Bank of Iraq, not by U.S. banks. What we're seeing right now is increased acceptance, not a revaluation. However, acceptance is the foundation that would make any future revaluation possible. Think of it as the early signs of something bigger, the infrastructure being built for what could come next. If Iraq continues improving its economic output, reducing inflation and strengthening trade partnerships, a more valuable dinar in the future could be a realistic outcome. But timing remains uncertain, and no banks, not investors, not analysts, can predict an exact date. So, what should dinar holders be doing now? The key is preparation and patience. If your local bank is part of this new policy shift, take time to verify what's needed, keep your notes in good condition, clean, unfolded, and stored properly. Be ready with identification and any supporting documents that prove your purchase was legitimate. If you plan to exchange a large amount, consider breaking it up across multiple banks or smaller transactions. Keep detailed records for tax purposes, as currency exchanges are considered taxable events in the U.S. Above all, avoid rushing into exchanges based solely on excitement. Compare rates, confirm policies, and make informed decisions. The smartest investors are the ones who balance optimism with caution. Let's also address taxes for a moment. When you exchange foreign currency, even at a small profit, the IRS considers it a taxable event. This means that any gain realized during your exchange could be subject to income tax or capital gains tax. That's why it's important to keep detailed receipts and bank records of every transaction. Some tax professionals recommend keeping both digital and paper copies in case you need them later. It's also wise to consult a financial advisor before making large exchanges. The more prepared you are, the smoother the process will be. This is especially true if revaluation happens in the future. Tax rules could change quickly, and having your paperwork in order will protect you from unnecessary stress or penalties. Now, let's talk about the bigger picture heading into 2025. Iraq's next national budget, oil pricing, and trade agreements will all play a massive role in shaping the dinar's value. With increased foreign reserves and improved financial transparency, Iraq is steadily regaining trust on the world stage. If this continues, we may see even more U.S. and international banks begin accepting dinar. Imagine what that could mean: a global return for a currency once written off as impossible. Investors are watching closely. Every policy update, every oil contract, and every move by the Central Bank of Iraq adds another piece to this puzzle. For now, the story is still being written, but it's becoming more optimistic with every passing month. We should also consider how this change affects investor psychology. When banks begin accepting a currency that's long been considered speculative, it changes the narrative. It turns hope into credibility. For years, skeptics said the dinar would never be accepted by major institutions again. Yet here we are, with evidence that some of the largest banks in the United States are quietly, carefully, and officially processing these notes. That shift in sentiment alone could attract new investors, new discussions, and renewed energy into the market. It's a reminder that progress sometimes comes slowly, but when it comes, it changes everything. As this story develops, it's crucial for dinar holders to stay informed and realistic. Follow official updates from your banks, watch for official announcements from Iraq's central authorities, and steer clear of social media rumors or exaggerated predictions. The dinar market has always been filled with hype, but what's happening now is tangible, measurable policy change. Keep your eyes on facts, not fantasies. Watch oil markets, follow Iraq's reforms, and track how other banks respond in the coming months. The more informed you are, the better positioned you'll be when the next phase of this story unfolds. Let's not overlook the global economic timing of this shift. The world is entering a new phase of monetary diversification, where countries are rebalancing currency dependencies and exploring alternative trade partners. In that environment, Iraq's return to the conversation is not random, it's strategic. With oil, minerals, and an emerging tech sector, Iraq has potential to become a serious regional player. The growing acceptance of the dinar by Western banks could accelerate that vision. For U.S. banks, it's a smart move too, offering new exchange opportunities and expanding into emerging market services. In short, Everyone stands to gain if this process continues smoothly. As we wrap up today's breaking report, here's the main takeaway. Wells Fargo, Chase, and Bank of America accepting the Iraqi dinar marks a historic milestone in a story that has spanned nearly 2 decades. It's not the final chapter, but it's one of the most important yet. This change shows that confidence in Iraq's currency is returning, slowly, steadily, and surely. For dinar holders, it's a time to stay alert, stay cautious, and stay optimistic. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss our next report. And share this video with anyone who holds Iraqi dinar, because this is the kind of information that truly matters. Until next time, this is Iraqi Dinar News Updates, bringing you clarity, facts, and updates you can trust. Stay smart, stay prepared, and keep watching for what could be one of the biggest financial turnarounds of our time.